Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dad Project. Thanks for joining us. Took a week off last week. We've had some pretty big life changes happening. As if you are watching the video version, you can probably see got some slightly different surroundings compared to where I have in the past. Before I get into today's episode, just want to ask you a favor, as always. If you find some value out of what we do, please make sure you share this around and that you are subscribed on the podcast platforms, or if you're watching the video version, that you're subscribed on YouTube. By you helping us share this around, you'll help us grow it. This podcast I've been at now for a bit over 12 months. It's continued to grow. I've continued to get great messages of support from everybody who does listen to it. And I am eternally grateful for you guys for tuning in. And I'm hoping that you do get some value from it. And if you do, please share this around. Help us continue to grow it. Help us continue to make sure that we can continue to do this and provide you with hopefully some great information that we do or that I do along the way. So over the last 3 weeks, we've been going through the process of shutting down our gym. Now, if you're tuning in for the first time, for the last 11 years, I've run a gym. It's a small group strength and conditioning facility, and we've made the decision that we've closed it down. And as of now, I'm now operating solely online, meaning that I'm dedicating all my time to doing projects like this, like the Unstoppable Dad Project, and helping people all over Australia, try and get to a amazing level of fitness and strength and athleticism. And as a result, we made the decision that we were going to close down our in-person operation. Now, there was a lot of factors that played into that decision. It was a really hard decision to make, and it was a decision that really impacted a lot of people, like our members, obviously myself, but also impacted our family. And one of the things that when we went through this that I really understood was how much it affected our little family, and especially like my daughter, right? So she's 7 years old, and she hasn't known anything different. She was born into the fact that we owned a gym. We had it for maybe 4 years. It would have been 4 years before she was born. So, it's been a big adjustment for us, which is one of the reasons why, I've had the last couple of weeks off doing the podcast. And this week's topic, I just wanted to go through, I guess, what's happened with me and my training and my mindset over the last couple of weeks with everything around the gym closure and working to shut that all down. And the biggest thing is I speak about adaptability with a lot of my clients, and I speak about adaptability on this podcast a lot. Like, if you've listened to more than one episode, you would have heard me go into detail about adaptability, especially when it comes to training and movement and doing things, because as dads, as parents, shit's going to happen. Like, especially with the kids are going to get sick. Kids are going to have stuff on. You're going to have stuff on. You're going to get sick. There's going to be other commitments that are going to have to take priority, whether that be work, whether that be family related, that are just going to be flat out more important than potentially going to the gym. So it means when it comes to planning things out, you've got to be adaptable. And it means that sometimes your plan B has to become your plan A. Now, for me, the last couple of weeks, when it's came to training and it's came to eating and it's just been do what I can when I can, because there has been so many things that have happened outside of my circle of influence or my circle of control, means that I've just got to do the best with what I can. So it means, like, for my jiu-jitsu, right? I did a post on my Instagram during the week where I spoke about this is actually the first week that I've been able to hit 4 jiu-jitsu sessions this week. Every other week, for the most part this year, has only been 2. Now, my goal is to hit 3. So my personal goal from a training point of view is to hit 3 jiu-jitsu sessions and to do 3 strength sessions on top of that. So 6 sessions a week, as well as doing some other movement stuff, walking with the kids, so on and so forth. So I'm essentially doing something every day. Now, that doesn't mean that has to be your goal. This is just my particular goal, right? So but I haven't been able to stick to that. I haven't been able to get those 2 sessions. And in the past, not being able to hit those goals that I set out for myself would cause me a lot of angst and anxiety, like this whole FOMO thing, like I'm missing out on something. I'm falling behind. I'm not getting any better. And as a result, it would almost suck the enjoyment out of something that I enjoy doing and that I'm doing for myself. And I've had to make a mindset shift, and I've had to also help a lot of people do this around their training and their expectations for what they can do, because all too often we set ourselves a goal and we set ourselves an expectation of, I should be able to do this amount of work, or I should be able to implement this, and we're not able to hit it regularly, or we're going through a period in our life of high stress, high fluctuations in the time demands that we have to allocate to particular things. And then as a result, things have to take a back seat. Now, one thing that I say a lot to clients, and I have said it on this podcast, is like, things will turn around. So you have to understand that by doing what you can, doing 1 session is better than doing none. Doing 2 is better than doing 1. Doing 3 is better than doing 2. Like, there's this compounding effect where if we can do more. Now, there is a tipping point where you can do too much, and it can be, and it can dig you into a hole and you're not recovering properly, but that's another conversation. So for me, it was just about doing what I can when I can. And for the most part, I was able to do like 2 jiu-jitsu sessions and 2 strength sessions, which is under what my goal is and under what I would have liked to do, but I got it done. And, I got to this week, and this week I've been able to do 4 jiu-jitsu sessions. I've been able to do 3 strength sessions. So it's actually 1 over what I've done. And I'm probably, in all fairness, now that we don't have that in-person requirement, going to enter a phase in my life where I can probably push a little bit harder on the physical side of things. So things are flipping the other way. And knowing that that was going to be the case, it meant that that old thought pattern where I wasn't able to, when I wasn't able to hit those daily goals, that feeling of being let down, or letting down myself and letting down the people around me, wasn't there, because I understood at some point it's going to flip back. And I also have this inherent understanding of why I'm doing it. Like, this isn't something that I'm trying to get the best result for this 4-week period. Like, this is a lifestyle. This is something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy training. I enjoy going to jiu-jitsu. I enjoy seeing what my body can physically do. So it's part of my life. It's something that I want to continue to do for the rest of my life. So going through times where maybe I'm only able to do 1 or 2 sessions a week, or even it might be that I can't get to the gym, I've got to resort to walking, I've got to do those things. And I say which really, as you can see, like, I'm not going to necessarily have that as a reason or an excuse, because we have the gym out here, so in the garage now, so it's going to be easier for me to do that. And you can set yourself up with things where it's going to be easier for you to access the ability to do something. But there are also going to be times where maybe it needs to take a backseat, and that's okay. And you need to know that if you have a bad week when it comes to training and movement, don't try and play catch up. Don't try and make up for lost time, because all that leads to is it leads to you having this angst and anxiety about trying to get more done than maybe you are capable of doing, without letting other things slip. So without taking that time from the family or from work in order to play catch up. And then if you don't get it again, it becomes this compounding effect where it just becomes harder and harder and harder to actually get back to it. And sometimes you just need to go, right, this is where I'm at right now. Realistically, this is all I can do. Do what you can. And then just know at some point it will turn the other way. Now, there's the flip side of that, where there is a conversation that needs to be had within yourself where you need to be honest. Like, if you are if you are just simply not doing it because there's an element of being lazy, then that's a conversation you need to have internally. And I'm all about open and honest conversations, but there's also other things where, when depending on who you are, and this is where knowing yourself and knowing how you can push, or getting somebody who knows you, who's invested time in getting to know your situation to help build you a plan and can have that outside view on what's going on and telling you, hey, look, it might actually be time to dial it back, or it might be time to ramp it up. You've got the time to do it. We just need to pull some times here and move this around. But understanding that, and understanding the circumstances, and understanding the type of person you are, will really help you lead to, all right, what do I need to do in this particular part of my life? I'm changing jobs. I'm moving something. Maybe I'm closing down a business and transitioning to something else. Maybe, the kids are sick and it's just hard to, I have to manage them as well as managing myself. Like, there's all these things that are going to factor in. And for maybe a month or two, you have to just put things on the back burner. And instead of doing 3 to 4 to 5 sessions a week, you're only doing 1 to 2. And understanding that that's okay is just one of the biggest things that can help you long term. Because over the years, I've seen so many people who all they want to do is they go through these periods of high stress and they want to keep pushing. And then all of a sudden what happens is something that they used to enjoy becomes something that they are unbelievably stressed about, that they stop enjoying, because all they're doing is they're trying to push to a point. They're trying to fit essentially a square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't work. I've done it. I've done it so many times in my life with a lot of different things. And sometimes you just need to take a step back, analyze the situation, be brutally honest with yourself about exactly what's going on. But also, too, there's that fine line between taking it easy and being too hard on yourself. I know for me, I tend to err on the side of being too hard on myself with certain things. Like, I will push and push and push until I collapse in a heap. And most fathers, most men, most parents that I've met will tend to be that way because they want to be better. And sometimes you just need to understand that, all right, I'm going through a lull. I will be able to get back to it. Let's just dial it back for a couple of weeks. And then when I can see a bit of daylight, then we're back into it, right? Then we can start rolling. We can start really getting into it. We can start pushing again. And just by doing that and understanding that, you will start to firstly play the long game. So understanding that, like, hey, this is something I'm doing for 10 years. I don't need to push hard right now. I can dial it back, still doing something. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not saying that you need to take it off completely. It just might mean that the plan needs to be adjusted. And this is also why it's so important, I think, to have an outside perspective. So for me, I've got a few different coaches who I lent on during this time to kind of be able to go, it wasn't just all on me to make this decision, right? They helped me move the pieces around. And it might be the same for you, because if you're trying to do this all on your own and you're going through a period of high stress, I can tell you right now, I've done that so many times in my life. And if nothing else, having a sounding board, whether it be a good friend, whether it be somebody who you've invested in to help you, is one of the best things you can do when you're going through a period of high stress, because it allows you to clear up the mental space around thinking what you need to do so that you can just take action on the things that you need to do. But I guess the whole point of this podcast was just to talk about what's happened with me over the last 3 weeks, how, even though I'm all about movement and I'm all about building strength and I'm all about consistency, that sometimes that consistency is going to be different. The amount of stuff you can do is not always going to be the same. There's, I guess, one constant in life is change. Everything's going to change. Your circumstances are going to change at different intervals. But on the other side of that, there will be light at the end of the tunnel where you can start to invest some more time in it. So having somebody to help you see through that clearly, but also giving yourself breathing space and being honest with, okay, am I just being lazy, or am I actually putting too much pressure on myself to do this? So don't play catch up. Give yourself some space to think. If you need to take the foot off the pedal, that's okay. And sometimes it's not just about you being soft or, not doing what you need to do. Sometimes it's just circumstantially. I don't even know if that's what. So, but circumstances don't allow us to. And look, like, yes, gym is important. Yes, movement is important. But there are going to be things, and there are going to be times in life where other things are going to be more important. So give yourself permission to do that if you need to. And then when you've seen that space, you just get back to it. Don't beat yourself up for not doing it. Don't do anything else. It might only be one day. It might be 1 week. It might be 2 weeks. It might even be 3 months. Whatever it is, once you see that light and you can get back to it, draw that line in the sand, forget about what's happened, learn from any mistakes that you have made and that you need to learn from. Just get back on the horse and get back to it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. We've just been through super high stressful period. We're starting to come out the other side of it. And now I'm ready to keep going and keep rolling, which also means that I'll be really putting some extra time into all the programs and everything that we've got going here, as well as the podcast. So I'll be reaching out to some people to try and get some guests on the podcast, have a talk to them about their experience from being a dad. So if you've got anyone that you'd like me to talk to, send me a message and let me know. Or if you think you'd be a great guest on here, reach out, let me know. All right. Thanks for listening again. Went a little bit longer, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much, but take it easy. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. Bye.